Ever feel like every VHS tape has already bled dry on your shelf? Think again, horror archaeologists, because these 14 slashers are sharpening their blades in the shadows, itching to carve fresh memories into your cerebellum. Grab popcorn, kill the lights, and let's exhume the screaming, steaming underbelly of 80s horror you probably haven't witnessed. Yet. Superstition, 1982. Kicking things off at number 14, we've got Superstition from 1982. The film opens with typical slasher bait, teenagers playing a prank who end up wandering through an abandoned house where they're brutally dispatched by an unseen force. One guy's head explodes in a microwave while another gets chopped in half by a window slamming down on him. Talk about security hazards. The actual story centers on a minister arriving to renovate church property that includes this cursed house. As the plot unfolds, we learn a witch was executed on the grounds centuries ago, and now she's back with a vengeance, killing anyone who steps foot on the premises, including a family that just moved in. Bad real estate decision there, folks. What makes Superstition stand out is its supernatural angle. This isn't your typical masked killer. It's a vengeful ghost witch with these horrifying black-clawed hands reaching out from the shadows. The kills are spectacular enough to earn this a spot on the UK's infamous Video Nasty list. Canadian financier Albert J. Salzer invested $2.5 million, and while it barely registered in America, European horror fans couldn't get enough. The practical effects deserve serious praise. That microwave head explosion and stained glass window impalement left censors clutching their pearls. Production trivia. The decayed church set looked so authentic that locals actually tried to attend Sunday services there until they spotted the prop skeletons. Night School, 1981. At number 13, we've got Night School from 1981, a grim police procedural slasher set in rainy Boston. The film follows a Harvard-educated detective investigating a string of beheadings where the victims' heads are being dunked in riverfront fish tanks. Talk about a signature kill. The investigation leads our detective to an all-girls college where he discovers a professor having inappropriate relationships with multiple female students. The killer sports a sleek black motorcycle helmet that completely conceals their identity, adding a distinct giallo flavor that stands out in the American slasher landscape. What makes Night School noteworthy is its serious, adult-oriented approach. This isn't teenagers at camp. It's a rain-slick urban nightmare with complex character relationships and a mystery that actually requires some brain power. Rachel Ward delivers a breakout performance that radiates femme fatale energy, while Leonard Mann's weary detective feels like a precursor to the psychological detective thrillers that would dominate the 90s. Shot for $1.2 million but earning just $1 million domestically, test audiences reportedly wanted more gore, but the MPAA had already cut significant footage. Behind-the-scenes drama included director Ken Hughes fighting with producers over a decapitation by merry-go-round sequence that budget constraints ultimately killed. Killer Party, 1986. Shifting to number 12, let's lighten the mood with Killer Party from 1986. This April Fool's Day, themed slasher follows sorority pledges attempting to throw a bash at an abandoned fraternity house where a pledge was once killed by a guillotine. Naturally, supernatural revenge ensues. What immediately stands out about Killer Party is its brilliantly meta-opening sequence. The film starts with not one, but two fake-outs. First showing what appears to be a movie scene, which turns out to be a drive-in movie that characters are watching, which then reveals itself to be part of a music video for White Sister's catchy song, April, You're No Fool, which is finally revealed as something our actual protagonist is watching on TV. It's like Russian nesting dolls of 80s pop culture. Director William Fruit juggles multiple genres, slasher, sorority comedy, and supernatural possession, creating a film that's both silly and genuinely entertaining. Made for a modest $2 million, it struggled at the box office but found its audience through late-night cable TV, where teenagers fell in love with its blend of pranks, party vibes, and possession horror. Warner Brothers actually forced a last-minute title change from April Fool to avoid competing with Paramount's similarly themed release, creating marketing confusion that doomed its theatrical run. Today, horror scholars appreciate its proto-meta approach that predates Scream by a decade, and horror cosplayers adore that creepy Greek letter hazmat mask the killer sports in the third act. Edge of the Axe, 1988. At number 11, we have Edge of the Axe from 1988, a unique Spanish-American hybrid that delivers both atmosphere and brutality. Set in a fog-drenched mountain town, the film follows two computer-obsessed misfits who use an early MS-DOS system to investigate a series of axe murders committed by a killer in a bone-white mask that's genuinely unsettling. Spanish director José Ramón Larraz shot the exterior scenes in Big Bear, California, while all interiors were filmed in Spain, creating an off-kilter Euro-American vibe that feels both familiar and slightly alien. The killer's look is absolutely iconic. That white, expressionless mask combined with a trench coat and axe creates one of the most visually striking slasher villains of the decade. The standout sequence occurs in a car wash where a woman is trapped as soap suds slide down her windshield, revealing the masked figure standing over her car. It's an ingeniously claustrophobic setup that makes brilliant use of an everyday location. With a micro-budget of $1.3 million and U.S. grosses too small to measure, Edge of the Axe found its audience through VHS rentals. Behind the scenes, Larraz insisted on using real forestry tools after prop axes kept breaking during filming. Yes, they had a medic on standby just in case. One criticism: the final reveal doesn't entirely work because the filmmakers used different actors to play the killer in various scenes to throw audiences off. When you discover who's behind the mask, the body type doesn't match what we've been seeing, which feels like cheating. Nevertheless, the icy blue cinematography and creative kill scenes make this a must-watch for slasher completists. Nightmare Beach, 1989. Cruising into number 10 is Nightmare Beach from 1989, the ultimate spring break slasher. Picture this: Daytona Beach, beer flowing, bikinis everywhere, and a killer in an electrified motorcycle helmet, frying college students to a crisp on the sand. Italian maestro Umberto Lenzi creates a neon-soaked fever dream that feels like MTV Spring Break with a body count. John Saxon chews scenery as the corrupt police chief, while the glam metal soundtrack perfectly captures that late 80s excess. What makes Nightmare Beach special is how it successfully blends exploitation beach party vibes with creative kills. The standout murder involves the killer placing a girl in front of a furnace, opening it to blast fire at her until she melts down to a skull. Practical effects that still impress today. Production faced challenges when Florida officials reportedly revoked filming permits after seeing the electric chair motorcycle, forcing the crew into guerrilla night shoots. The $2 million production barely made $500,000 domestically, but international video sales kept Lenzi afloat. Critics laughed it off in 1989, but modern horror fans appreciate its unique beach setting and colorful approach to slasher conventions. It's the perfect summer horror flick when you want something that balances fun and frights in equal measure. Night Screams, 1987. Number 9, we have Night Screams from 1987, a regional slasher that screams authentic Americana. The plot centers on a Kansas quarterback throwing an after-game party that turns deadly when escaped mental patients crash the festivities, though the real killer might be someone much closer to home. What immediately stands out about Night Screams is its genuine small-town atmosphere. Shot in Wichita, Kansas, with a budget of just $600,000, director Alan Plone recruited local high schoolers as extras, paying them in pizza instead of cash. That authentic Midwestern flavor can't be faked, and it gives the film a charm that bigger budget productions often lack. Distribution problems meant only 45 U.S. theaters screened the film, resulting in a microscopic $57,000 box office. Behind the scenes, the infamous hamburger face oven kill used actual meat draped over a stuntman's mask, creating such a nauseating smell that it cleared the set within minutes. The acting is admittedly rough around the edges, but the mystery element works surprisingly well, setting up multiple potential killers that kept me guessing. VHS collectors eventually discovered the film, dubbing it "Fly Over America's Answer to Black Christmas." Madman, 1981. Climbing to number 8, Madman from 1981 offers one of the most atmospheric camp slasher experiences ever committed to film. The story begins around a campfire where counselors share the legend of Madman Mars, a hulking axe murderer who will appear if you say his name above a whisper, which one foolish counselor immediately does, of course. What makes Madman special is its incredibly immersive fall atmosphere. This doesn't look like summer camp. It's all autumn leaves, stacked firewood, and misty forests. Director Joe Giannone captures a genuine chill in the air that translates through the screen. The killer's backstory is effectively delivered through that opening campfire tale, complete with its own folk song that will get stuck in your head for days. Madman Mars became such a cult favorite that modern horrorcore musicians still sample it. The practical effects by Tom Savini's protege, Tasso N. Stavrakis, deliver some memorable kills, including a notorious hot tub decapitation. During production, the crew rented an abandoned Boy Scout camp in Fishkill, New York, sleeping in the actual bunks between filming. Talk about method acting. Made for just $350,000 but earning $1.3 million, Madman performed well for an independent slasher and has only grown in stature over the decades. If you enjoy films where the setting almost becomes a character itself, Madman's foggy forests won't disappoint. Final Exam, 1981. At number 7, Final Exam from 1981 strips the slasher formula down to its bare essentials. Set at Lanier College during finals week, the film follows students dealing with cheating scandals and relationship drama before a nameless, motionless killer begins picking them off one by one. What makes Final Exam fascinating is its deliberate rejection of slasher conventions. The killer has no mask, no costume, no backstory, and no motive. He's just a guy in a plain outfit who shows up and starts killing. This nihilistic approach was too avant-garde for 1981 audiences, but feels eerily prescient today. The college atmosphere feels incredibly authentic, and I genuinely enjoyed spending time with these characters, particularly the horror nerd Radish, who predates Scream's Randy by 15 years as the meta-commentary character obsessed with serial killers. Shot for $735,000 in just 27 days, the film barely made $1 million theatrically. Legend has it that extras were local students promised academic credit that professors later denied. While early critics dismissed it as all talk, no gore, modern slasher scholars appreciate its character-driven approach and slow burn tension. Cemetery of Terror, 1985. Crossing the border at number 6, Cemetery of Terror from 1985 brings Mexican horror sensibilities to the slasher formula with gloriously over-the-top results. The premise is certifiably insane. Medical students steal a corpse for a Halloween prank, accidentally resurrecting a Satanist named Devlin who proceeds to tear out hearts like party favors. Director Ruben Galindo Jr. studied filmmaking at USC before returning to Mexico to create this fog-drenched, neon-lit nightmare. The film borrows heavily from both slasher traditions and zombie films, creating something uniquely its own. The $800,000 production struggled in the U.S. market, but earned around $2 million in Spanish-language territories. During filming, fire marshals nearly shut down the gasoline-soaked graveyard finale until Galindo reportedly bribed them with catering burritos. Now that's independent filmmaking. What makes Cemetery of Terror special is its complete commitment to its bonkers premise. The zombie Satanist killer doesn't use weapons. He just rips through people with his bare hands, creating some of the most gleefully gory moments in 80s horror. The House on Sorority Row, 1983. Breaking into the top 5, The House on Sorority Row from 1983 elevates the slasher formula with genuine Hitchcockian suspense. The plot centers on sorority sisters who accidentally kill their strict house mother during a prank gone wrong. As they attempt to hide the body before their graduation party, someone in a jester mask begins picking them off one by one. Director Mark Roseman brings unexpected visual flair, while composer Richard Band's carnival theme creates an unsettling contrast to the bloodshed. The graduation setting adds poignancy. These women are literally being killed on the threshold of their adult lives. Made for just $425,000, the film shocked studio executives by earning $10.6 million domestically, one of the few genuine sleeper hits on our list. Behind the scenes, Marilyn's humidity warped the swimming pool set piece during the climactic sequence, but the crew kept cameras rolling as fog rolled in, accidentally creating the dreamlike atmosphere that makes the finale so memorable. What elevates House above many of its contemporaries is how it gives its characters genuine moral complexity. These aren't just disposable teens, they're accomplices to manslaughter, dealing with guilt and fear even before the killer arrives. Star Catherine McNeil's final girl meltdown predicted Scream's Sidney Prescott by over a decade, and the film's influence is so strong that it received an official remake in 2009. Just Before Dawn, 1981. At number 4, Just Before Dawn from 1981 takes the slasher formula into the great outdoors with spectacular results. 5 friends ignore a forest ranger's warnings and hike into Oregon's Cascade Mountains, where they encounter murderous inbred twins wielding massive Bowie knives. Director Jeff Lieberman makes the brilliant choice to film primarily at dawn, capturing the mountains shrouded in mist that creates an ethereal, almost fairy tale quality to the horror. George Kennedy lends gravitas as the Ranger, while Deborah Benson delivers one of the most transformative final girl performances in the genre. Shot for $1 million but earning just $200,000 theatrically, Just Before Dawn was nearly forgotten until VHS collectors nicknamed it Deliverance for Gorehounds. The production faced genuine dangers, including real bear sightings, and stuntman John Hunsaker performed his own waterfall plunge after insurance refused to cover it. What truly separates this film from other wilderness slashers is its breathtaking cinematography. The nature photography is so gorgeous that you might forget you're watching a horror film until the blade drops. The final confrontation between Benson's character and the killer features one of the most unexpected and visceral takedowns in slasher history, a moment that still drops jaws 4 decades later. Curtains, 1983. Silver medal position goes to Curtains from 1983, a fascinating production disaster that somehow emerged as a surreal masterpiece. The premise involves 6 actresses competing for a coveted role by spending the weekend at a director's remote mansion where they're stalked by a killer in a horrifying old woman mask. What makes Curtains legendary in slasher circles is its troubled production history. Director Richard Chiupka abandoned the project mid-shoot after creative differences with producer Peter R. Simpson, who then spent 2 years cobbling together reshoots. This fractured approach accidentally created a dreamlike, disjointed narrative that feels more like art house horror than typical slasher fare. The film's standout sequence, now iconic in horror circles, features the killer ice skating in slow motion across a frozen pond toward a victim. The crew shot this scene during a frigid Ontario night, where set lights kept melting the ice faster than they could capture the chase. Despite its $3.7 million budget, Curtains earned just $1.1 million on initial release, but has since developed one of horror's most devoted cult followings. Samantha Eggar and John Vernon deliver performances too sophisticated for the material, while composer Paul Zaza's haunting lullaby theme creates an atmosphere of melancholy unusual for the genre. Modern feminist readings of the film have identified sharp commentary on Hollywood's treatment of aging actresses and the destructive competition fostered by the industry, themes that feel even more relevant today than in 1983. Visiting Hours, 1982. Taking the crown at number 1, Visiting Hours from 1982 delivers psychological terror that still feels confrontational today. The story follows a feminist TV journalist who survives a brutal home invasion only to discover her attacker is now stalking her through the hospital where she's recovering. What elevates Visiting Hours above conventional slashers is its serious engagement with themes of gender-based violence and media responsibility. This isn't just a body count movie, it's a film with genuine social commentary wrapped in hospital corridor suspense. Michael Ironside, fresh off David Cronenberg's Scanners, delivers a performance so unnervingly committed that critics remarked he'd out Freddy Krueger Freddy. His sweat-drenched, twitchy portrayal of misogynistic rage feels uncomfortably authentic. Director Jean-Claude Lord transforms sterile hospital corridors into claustrophobic kill zones, while Jonathan Goldsmith's heart monitor-inspired synth score intensifies every stalking sequence. The Canadian crew reportedly hid from union inspectors by filming exclusively at night, lending the production a genuine sleep-deprived intensity. With a $6 million budget and $13 million worldwide gross, Visiting Hours was modestly successful, but has since become a touchstone for horror fans seeking slashers with substance. Its feminist undercurrents and unflinching examination of violence against women make it feel decades ahead of its contemporaries. And there you have it, horror fans, 14 under-the-radar 80s slashers that prove the decade's bloody brilliance runs deeper than just the franchise icons everyone knows. From supernatural vengeance to psychological terror, from summer camps to college halls, these forgotten gems showcase why the 1980s remains the undisputed golden age of the slasher film. Which of these deep cuts will you be adding to your must-watch list? Drop a comment below, smash that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you never miss our next vault-busting showcase of vintage horror treasures. Until next time, sweet screams.